Okay, we are going to be solving some radical equations today, and this is something you should be familiar with to some extent, but we are going to be putting kind of a new spin on it and making sure that we check our solutions, because just because we get an answer, when we plug it back into our equation, it might not work out correctly. So remember, in order to solve our radical equations, we're going to raise both sides to the same power to be getting rid of our radicals. So starting with number one, let's jump right in. Square root of x plus 13 equals 0. If I move that 13 over to the other side, I want to isolate my radical first. The square root of x equals negative 13. If I square both sides, I'm going to get that x is equal to 169. Now, if I plug that back in, square root of 169 plus 13 equals 0. That's going to give me 13 plus 13, which does not equal 0. So my solution does not work. So there is no real solution for this problem. Okay. Number 2, I've got the cube root of x minus 4 to the 4th power. So to get rid of that radical, focus, I'm going to need to raise both sides to the 3rd power. So my radical will cancel on the left. So x minus 4 is equal to 4 to the 3rd power is 64. Add that 4 to both sides. And we get that x is 68. But let's plug it back in to make sure. 68 minus 4 is the cube root of 64, which does equal 4. So this is our solution. It does work out. On to number 3. I want to get rid of my square root, so I'm going to have to square both sides. So on the left, that'll get rid of my radical, but on the right, we're squaring a binomial, so you need to FOIL, don't just distribute. So that's going to give us x squared minus 8x plus 16, and I'm going to end up with a quadratic, so I need to move everything to one side, and hopefully I'll be able to factor. So factors of positive 16 that add to negative 10. That is going to be negative 8 and negative 2. So our two solutions are going to be positive 8 and positive 2. Now, again, we need to check these solutions by plugging them back into our original equation. So let's go with 8 first. So the square root of 2 times 8, that's going to be 16, is equal to 8 minus 4. So that's going to be 4 is equal to 4. And that checks out. Fantastic. Now let's try 2. The square root of 2 times 2 is going to be 4. Is equal to 2 minus 4. So that's giving us that 2 is equal to negative 2. And that does not work out. So 2 is not a solution, and 8 is our answer. Okay. On to 4. I've got square roots on both sides. So we're going to square both. And my radical will cancel here. 3y minus 5 is equal to, here I have to square both parts. That's going to give me 9y. And now I'm solving for y, Negative 5 is going to be equal to 6y. So y is equal to negative 5, 6. We have one solution and we need to test it out. So 3 times negative 5, 6 minus 5 is equal to 3 on the square root of negative 5 over 6. Now, hopefully you can already tell on the right-hand side, I've got a negative inside my radical. And if I continue the operation on the left, I'm still going to end up with a negative inside my radical, which is not possible. So once again, we have no real solution. And I know y'all are going to get really frustrated with this topic because there are going to be a lot of situations where there's no solution or one of the answers you've got is not a solution. Okay. 2 more. Let's go on to the back side. Number 5. This is probably the trickier kind of what you're going to be seeing. So I've got a radical on both sides, so I need to square both sides. And on the right side, it's going to work out pretty nice. I'm going to cancel my radical, but on the left, this is actually a binomial. 4 minus square root of x minus 1, 4 minus square root of x minus 1. So we have to FOIL. This will focus. Come on. So let's start. 4 times 4, that's going to give us 16. 4 times 4. Then we're going to get 4 times negative square root of x minus 1 and 4 times negative square root of x minus 1. So that's going to be a total of negative 8 on the square root of x minus 1. And then lastly, when we square the negative x minus 1, it's going to give us a positive and our radicals will cancel. So that's just going to be x minus 1. So that's FOILing on the left. Then on the right, we'll just get 3x plus 3 because our radical cancels. So we need to do some rearranging, combine like terms. So 16 minus 1, that's going to be 15. This term in the middle has to stay the same. And I still have plus x. So I'm going to end up needing to get rid of this radical again. But first, I'm going to move the 15 and the x to the other side. So negative 8 square root of x minus 1 is equal to 2x minus 12. All right. Now, I have another radical still. So to get rid of that, we're going to square both sides again. This time, I'm going to distribute on the left. So that's just going to give me 64. The radical cancels. Great. But on the right side, we need to FOIL again. So this is going to give us 4x squared minus 48x plus 144. On the left, I'm going to distribute 64x minus 64, 4x squared minus 48x plus 144. Let's move everything to the right-hand side. Combine like terms, and we get that 0 is equal to 4x squared minus 112x plus 208. So to make life easier, we can factor out a common factor of 4. So that leaves us with x squared minus 28x plus 52. Okay, so looking at what's inside, you can actually factor this, but I want to practice using the quadratic formula because there might be a situation where it doesn't factor. So let's practice using our quadratic formula to solve this. So the 4 we can divide by 0 and it will cancel out. So A is 1, B is negative 28, and C is 52. So x is equal to negative b plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac all over 2a. And we are going to use our calculator for this bit. 28 squared minus 4 times 1 times 52. It's going to be 28 plus or minus the square root of 576 over 2. The square root of 576 is 24. So 28 plus or minus 24 over 2. So 28 plus 24 divided by 2 gives us 26. And 28 minus 24 divided by 2 gives us 2. Now, you can get the same answers if you had factored it. But we, again, need to plug this back in to check our solutions. So let's start with 26 first. If I plug 26 in here, it's going to give me 4 minus 26 minus 1 is 25 equals 3 times 26 plus 3 is going to give us 81. So 4 minus 5 equals 9. Sorry. So negative 1 equals 9. That is not the case. So 26 is not a solution. Let's try plugging in 2, again, to the same equation. So 4 minus 2 minus 1 is going to give us a square root of 1. 3 times 2 plus 3 is going to give us 9. So 4 minus 1 equals 3. 3 does equal 3. So 2 is our solution for number 5. All right. Last but not least, number 6. Oh, there's that bell. Sorry, give me 1 second. Okay. What we want to do first here is just isolate our radical. So I'm going to move the x and the 6 to the other side. So the square root of x equals negative x plus 6. And so we'll square both sides. So I get x. I have to FOIL on the right. So I'm going to get x squared minus 12x plus 36. Again, move this x over. So x squared minus 13x plus 36. I can solve this by factoring. That's going to be x minus 9 times x minus 4. So our two solutions are going to be positive 9 and positive 4. But again, we need to plug these back in and check that they work. So let's try 9 first. 9 plus the square root of 9 minus 6 needs to equal 0. 9 plus 3 minus 6, that's going to be 12 minus 6, which does not equal 0. So 9's not a solution. Let's try 4. 4 plus the square root of 4 minus 6 needs to equal 0. 4 plus 2 minus 6. 6 minus 6 does equal 0. So 4 is our solution for number 6.